Welcome back to episode 5 of Podshots with your host, Brandon Zemp and Clement Young. This week on Podshots, we talk about the life and times of Leonardo DiCaprio. Leo is a legend in Hollywood and has set a high standard for actors and actresses. He has also made a number of personal contributions to humanitarianism and climate change. Our liqueurs of choice this week are Bacardi Superior and Havana Club. Bacardi Superior has a smooth, subtle taste of notes and almonds that doesn't dominate like gin or disappear like vodka and is perfect for cocktails. Havana Club is another fantastic rum that is also slightly sweet with hints of vanilla, aged, hints of cinnamon, tobacco, orange peel, and this dry oak aroma. So what can I say? These are two fantastic rums of choice today. So with that said, sit back, relax, have a drink, and enjoy episode 5 of Podshots. Oh, it's so exciting.
Yeah,
what is this, episode 5? Is this Cinco? Episode 5?
This is episode 5. We're on 5th now. We need an anniversary drink.
We do. When we get to 10, we'll have something special.
Yeah, like after the episode, I'll have a drink. Yeah, this is
tell the audience why you have to have a drink after this episode, Clement. Let's be honest. Why don't you tell them what happened?
Tell them what happened about what?
About your lack of beverage today.
Oh, yeah. No, I couldn't get my hands on Bacardi, which is what we were supposed to drink. But for some reason, Bacardi is out of stock. Must be a popular Bacardi month. So I got Havana.
We were full stock here. I mean, they must have shipped it all to Colombia.
I'm sure you got full stock there, bro.
Yes.
I'm probably going to...
Yeah, so this week, it's a special episode because I'm the only one drinking.
No, I have found an alternative which we can feature. It's like a co-feature with Bacardi.
It's a co-liqueur.
Let me grab it. It's called. Oh yeah. It's called Havana Club.
Havana Club. Okay.
Especial. Yeah.
So this is going to be a special episode where
I'm holding mine up to the camera,
and we have two different liqueurs, Bacardi and Havana Club.
Havana Club. And I've never actually tried this before, to be honest. I've never tried it. But it says that it's aged to perfection and deliciously smooth.
It's good.
Yeah. Plus it's amber colored. It's not sweet. Not
sounds lovely. So is it aged?
So I don't know if that makes it better, but it looks better.
But is it aged? Like, has it been sitting in a barrel or what?
It doesn't tell you how old it is, but you know how they are, right? They'll say anything.
As long as it doesn't have those fancy botanicals like the gin from last time.
Or like just random, like single cell organisms floating around inside.
Yeah. We have a microbiome in our alcohol. It does not make sense. They should be dead, but they're floating around.
Have you ever eaten one of the worms in tequila?
It's kind of not really a thing. It's, but some tequila bottles put the worm in there, but it's, you don't see it very often. It's more of like a decoration, I guess.
You don't see it often. No, you don't. Oh God, I have. And yeah, it's not advisable.
When I was a kid, we had a bottle on the shelf and I was told that it was tequila. And I was like, why is there a worm at the bottom of this tequila bottle? Oh, yeah. As I had no idea why. And I'm like, this tequila must be bad. And then it took me a while to understand that it was a thing.
Yeah, man. It's so cool though. I mean, if you're in a bar and you're with your buddies and you're just talking about stuff and you pull off the top shelf alcohol and you have a look in each of them, there's like at least in the bars that I used to go to, they had stuff like lizards in there and things. It was just odd, really odd. And we took a shot of the one with the lizard in and I almost threw up. Because I just couldn't bear the thought of just decaying flesh, sliding.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do the lizard. Maybe the worm, not the lizard. But there is no worm or lizard in Bacardi.
No, nor in Havana Club.
No, not at all. But Bacardi is pretty commercial, pretty mainstream.
There's a dope.
It is this one is the Blanca, the clear one, the boring one, the one with less flavor, which is good for shots.
Does it really have less flavor than the amber colored ones?
Yeah. Well, rums are sweeter. Rums, sometimes they got like a spice to it. They make it so that, you're supposed to have like some flavor to it. So you're supposed to drink a darker rum. Those are the best ones.
Right.
But because I'm taking shots, I don't want to buy a nice rum and then waste it on a shot. So we're going.
But hopefully one day we'll be sponsored with very nice drinks, and we won't waste them on shots. I mean, we will have shots.
We will be sponsored.
We won't be wasting
the finest. Oh, that's a tall shot. That was a mistake.
Okay, it's the first one. It's gonna get things kicked off in the right way.
Yeah, I'm about to kick off my liver in a minute. All right, so I got my first shot poured. You ready?
I'm ready. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Cheers.
3, 2, 1, tink.
Oh yeah. That's got a kick.
God. I like Bacardi. I poured too tall of a shot.
Yeah, this is very powerful stuff.
But today's chaser is sponsored by Budweiser.
Today's chaser is sponsored by Marks and Spencer's very strong tea.
Very strong tea. That's a fancy chaser. I go cheap. Let's go with the Budweiser. Anheuser-Busch.
What percentage volume is yours?
It's commercial, so actually this is 35.
Oh God, okay. Yeah. No, mine's very strong. Mine's 40, and it took me about
40 is like the commercial top. When you get anything that's commercial that you can buy generally any store across your country, across the world, they top it off usually at 40.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
I don't know if there's like a standard for it, but I think there is. And then once you get over 40, usually you get out of like the commercial zone and you start having like different private label stuff, mom and pop stuff, moonshine, some crazy shit.
Jail drinks.
Jail. Gulag drinks.
The gulag. Yeah. Oh my God.
That'd be an awful drink called the gulag.
Actually, I've been playing Call of Duty because I was so bored. I gave in to my temptations. I bought a PS4 and I downloaded that game, and there's a gulag. I don't know if you know about this, but there's like a whole meme about it right now. And it is pretty funny because you don't really know what it is until you play it, and you're like, "Oh, that's what it means." And
there's a lot of people making videos on TikTok playing Call of Duty in the gulag.
Yeah,
and it's really funny. People come up with all kinds of funny shit, but that stuff's entertaining to watch. I don't necessarily like playing games anymore.
Yeah.
Like if I do want to play a game, I like playing the old stuff. I like the simple stuff.
Like what?
Like it's gotten so real that I don't see the point. Like I like my realities. I don't feel the need to escape that much.
Oh, you mean like not as like military sim realistic games?
It feels so real now. Right. Like if I picked up a controller to play on a PS4 or an Xbox, and I played like Call of Duty or something, it feels so real.
Yeah, it's true. It's scary. It's scary how realistic it is. And then think about how it's going to be in the next 10 years. I mean, we're going to ditch the controller probably. Just keep running around in our living room, killing each other.
VR, my friend, VR. We'll all be in VR. We'll be fully immersed. It'll be incredible. But, it's like if you want to escape your reality, that's an awesome outlet. Wonderful. But I mean, I have no problem with my reality. I'm in a beautiful place, surrounded by beautiful women with amazing alcohol and cheap drinks, cheap, amazing food, things to do. Like, I'm like, why would I need to escape my reality and go shoot someone in the gulag?
Oh, dude, man, trust me. That's why I haven't had one. And that's why I only bought one recently, because obviously I'm not going anywhere. I'm stuck in.
I mean, these trying times, being stuck in quarantine, I don't blame anybody.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't even say it's a good pastime to have either, because after having gotten back into it again a little bit, It's true. It's just not a very productive thing to do. I mean, not many things are very productive to do that we do regularly anyway. But there's something about sitting there for about 2 or 3 hours just playing straight, which makes you feel kind of guilty afterwards and maybe not too good inside as well.
Yeah. When I was younger, I used to play a lot. I used to play 2 things. I had a Game Boy, so I'd play Pokemon. So I was trying to be a Pokemon master. Wow. That shit's fun though. Like there's so much math involved in it too. Cause like if you really are like a nerd when it comes to Pokemon, you can get involved in like the breeding process and you can make all these weird breeding combinations and yeah, I don't know. It's really intricate. Most people don't realize that, but some of these old games came out like 2005, 2006. You can do some crazy ass shit on the Game Boy. It's pretty incredible. I love that stuff. Yeah. I wish I had my Game Boy.
I remember those days, man. They were good.
Yeah.
They were good fun.
And then I had my
Xbox. Like, it just goes to show you don't need something super complex to be highly entertained. You know, you can play something really stupid with very low resolution graphics for so long and still feel like it's fun.
Well, I mean, the stupid games are the fun games because you're just playing a game.
Yeah.
Like, you know, once it becomes real, and then it's like you take it very seriously, like your emotions get involved. So like I used to play Xbox all the time when I was in high school and throughout college. I mean, everything from Madden to like Forza racing games and Call of Duty and Halo. Once you get into the shooting games though, and you start like building like a character and everything and you get killed, man, it gets emotional.
You can have like breakdowns because of that. I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, we used to play Madden all the time in college and we'd get super competitive every day, like after a class or after football practice or something like that. We'd all get together and we'd have like these little Madden tournaments and we'd get them so hyped up and we'd get so emotionally involved that when you'd lose, you're outside running across campus, like having a fit, taking a lap of shame.
Yeah, there's even been crimes committed, killings, you know, as far as that. I mean, very rarely, but people get highly engaged and identified with these things, and it's really sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with some of these shooting games because those have always been like controversial, and it's almost funny to look back and see how they were talking about it being controversial when a shooting game was so like basic and so simple and not so realistic.
Yeah.
But now it feels so real. You feel like you actually are in the gulag or you feel like you're actually going after the Forerunners in Halo. Like it feels so real. Like you're in the game half the time, even though you're on a controller, and then you get so emotionally invested into it and you get addicted to it. And then you have a life online. If you play online, like with PUBG or Fortnite and shit like that, you know, you start investing so much of yourself into it.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it really
can only imagine.
I mean, it really depends again. And I don't know. I don't know if you can, I was thinking about this in a shower earlier about why certain people act the way they do when they play these games, because I can hear all of them on the communications, right? But you can't turn it off as far as I can tell. So I can hear my teammates and the opposition talking between rounds. And they're really going at it with each other, you know, they're really getting, their egos are getting invested. And that's when I realized if you're emotionally intelligent, you don't let something like that bug you, and you don't let something like that dictate the way you react or act to people. But the ones that can't control their emotions are the ones that have fits. And there's a lot of people like that playing this game. So yeah, I think,
you know, I don't think most people are emotionally intelligent. It's kind of a new concept. And, you know, most people lead with their emotions rather than, you know, analyze and make decisions based on their emotions.
Yeah.
Hashtag shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts are the best, bro. Shower thought. Do you have lots of shower thoughts as well?
This is getting really weird really quickly. But yeah, I mean, we all think about shit in the shower. I have personal arguments in the shower.
What? Like, verbally,
like
in your mind?
I get in the shower and I think about scenarios and I'm just like, well, and I start like having personal arguments like with myself, like what if they said this or what if they said that? And like, this is totally what I'd say. And your voice like echoes in the shower. It's like better than actually like trying to sing in the shower. Like, I don't know what it is, but
I don't know if I have.
I feel when you get in the shower, the first thing you want to do is argue with yourself. You're like, I need to get all this out. I'm like, out of the shower, back to real life.
I got someone you can talk to. I'll give you their number after the show. But no, I don't know if I probably do that too. I think we all do that, don't we, to some extent? Like as a kind of like a dialogue.
Yeah, it feels like this weird meditation. You know, you get in the shower, you go through the motions and everything, but you're in there and you're like, to yourself, sounds drained out by the water, and you're just kind of like relaxed, and you're just like, well, shit. Do I masturbate or think about life?
I've never really been able to do that. I know this is where it's going next. This is the next step. So I've never really been able to do that in the shower. I don't know how people do it. I've never been able to. Like it's not a thing. Masturbate in the shower. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're not talking about that.
Well, there you go. So that was a spin-off, but let's looping back around again. Yeah, they say that it's because the heat or I don't know if it's the heat or the sensation of the water hitting the top of your head stimulates blood flow. I'm not sure if this is true.
No, I think, it's a warmer environment. Your body's relaxed. You probably have more ample blood flow. Your mind's also relaxed. It's kind of like this Zen state for like 5-10 minutes. I don't know how long everyone showers, but you're in there for a short period of time. But I mean, you're just so relaxed that your thoughts flow. Yeah. A lot better than when you're sitting on the bed or at work or driving or at the store. Like you're just relaxed and all you're focusing on is massaging that shampoo through your hair. So all kinds of thoughts are probably popping in your head. I know they pop into mine. I imagine when you're in that shower, you have those hashtag shower thoughts.
I even know some people who have told me they've got like a waterproof whiteboard in there that they just kind of write on, which is so cool when you think about it, because I forget like half or more of these things. But
that'd be pretty cool to see an advertisement for. Do you overthink a lot? Are you productive even in the shower? Get our waterproof whiteboard
in the shower. Yeah, solving your.
Well, there's water and soap in there, so if water and soap doesn't, wipe everything off the whiteboard, I don't know how you clean the whiteboard. That'd be a weird invention.
Yeah, that's true. Well, who knows? But it's
waterproof paper.
Huh?
Waterproof paper.
Waterproof paper. That's another one. But they say I feel like when you're high on recreational drugs or you're in the shower are the best times to be creative, unless you have another suggestion. But those two really stand out for me. I think most of the world's most successful music was done probably in either of those states.
Yeah. I've have made some incredible music in the shower. Your voice just echoes perfectly. Best shower I've ever had was magic mushrooms. Best shower of my life.
Two in one. Whoa.
Well, yeah, everything's so overly stimulated, when you're on a hallucinogen. Wow. With magic mushrooms, you're so happy. You get in the shower and, the water hits you and you're just like, oh my God, it's just like water ecstasy. It's a weird feeling. I'm telling you, best shower I ever had. And then I went and got some Panda Express, got some orange chicken. I was so happy.
Shit. I'm going to have to try that out.
Yeah, man. Got to try it. But I don't think our topic is hashtag shower thoughts today. What was our topic?
What a shame. This was good. Our topic. Well, we did have a few on the plate, and we decided we were going to go down the road of kind of talking about something a little less, I suppose, something a little bit more lighthearted and
less deep.
Yeah, less deep, more pop culture. So we've stuck with Hollywood, an actor in Hollywood that I've been watching his films or movies, as you say, the last 2 days. Leonardo DiCaprio. I suppose there's a lot of things we can talk about in his life and where he's come from and where he is now and the work that he's done. And you're right, because when you said to me we should do an episode on him, I was like, and then when I looked into it, I was like, oh shit, he's actually done a shitload of stuff, not even in Hollywood, but also outside as well, like humanitarian stuff as well. So there's a bunch of things that we can touch on.
Yeah, he's had an interesting life thus far. I brushed up on some movies. He's been lead role in a few movies that are, my all-time favorites. One of them being Inception. He's also had an interesting like backstory growing up. Some of it I know. I also watched a documentary or two to kind of like juggle my mind a little bit. But he grew up with immigrant parents, a mother from Seco, Germany, and a father from Italy. So, and
his name is Leonardo DiCaprio, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, there was a story they were talking about, and they were saying that when Leo was a baby, he was still in his mom's stomach in pregnancy. They were looking at Leonardo da Vinci's artwork. Yeah, and they when they were looking at the artwork, she like felt a kick or whatever, and she felt like it was like something weird about it, and decided to name him Leo after Leonardo da Vinci. It's kind of a cool little fact. No, he's had an interesting childhood. He grew up very, very talented in terms of acting. Definitely had the spirit to do it. Wasn't a bunch of commercials like Matchbox and shit like that.
Actually, his brother was the one who landed the first commercial. I don't even know what his brother's doing.
Stepbrother, I think.
Right. And that's what got him interested. But like, if you get paid $50,000 when you're a kid for a commercial, which is like less than a minute. I mean, that's a lot of money, and that would get anyone
$50,000 to a kid's a lot of money. I remember the first time I made my first $100.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You know how many bags of Skittles I could buy for $100? I was so happy. I was like, I'm rich.
Yeah.
Then it was when I got older that I realized $100 just is not enough anymore.
Not really. And the stimulus check ain't enough either.
No.
Sorry, didn't have to slide that one in there. I saw a meme earlier, and let's get back to this in a second, but I saw not a meme. It wasn't a meme. It was someone who actually recorded a video. She got in her car. She got her money out. I guess the whole $1,200. She was fanning it, like kind of, just showing off. And then someone snatched it through the window, and she was like, oh my God. I don't know if it was real or not, but if it was, it's her fault for not having the window.
Karma's a bitch, man.
Karma is a bitch.
If you get that much money through stimulus, you probably shouldn't be waving it around or
you probably
holding it out. It's trying times. I would have put that in my back pocket.
That video, physically liked it. So there you go. But so $100 is a lot. I remember when I made my first 100 or whatever online or in my own endeavors outside of working for someone else. And that was really nice. And it has that impact on you. And I think $50,000, I would have never, ever imagined, what it would be like to earn a $50,000 check for my first piece of work, especially as a kid.
Yeah.
So that must have changed him completely. And, right. So a lot of the world records in, let's say, the Olympics have been beaten, not because people were getting better and better and better, but because people had somehow given themselves permission. I remember reading that in the German Olympics, someone beat the world record for like the 400 meters, I think it was, or the 1500 meters. Anyway, shortly after that, because it had taken so long to beat the previous record, like we're talking decades or something. Don't quote me on this, but I know there's a story like this. And in the next 12 months, like 3 or 4 people beat that person's record. So it was almost like saying, if we don't think something's possible, we won't even try. But once we know it's possible, then all of a sudden things change. And I think that might have been what made him so, at least set the foundations for him being so confident and so sure of himself, because that's one of his defining traits.
Yeah, I think part of it is, money was a motivational factor for him, but he was also incredibly talented. And, it's just, I think it's also a mental thing. Once you kind of like buy into something completely and it's like your end goal, that's what you want to do in life. That's what you want. That's what you believe in. That's who you are. Amazing things happen, crazy things happen, whether it's in his life or in sports, like the example you're giving. There's so many examples of that in sports, where people, their mindset shifts and they're able to accomplish some astounding things.
Right.
Constantly over and over again. It's so much more mental than it is physical. And, like these athletes, he's talented in what he does, but, it's his passion for it and his perfectionism and what he does and how he, creates these characters and how he does research and prepares for these characters like any good actor or actress should do. That's what's made him so successful since he was very, very young, and then growing up, having that maturity, hanging around with adults most of the time, being dedicated to his work as a little kid, being that young. I mean, that really helped him, evolve his career as he got older.
Yeah.
And then he was able to land very complex roles in many different areas, portraying, kids with disabilities, portraying heroin addicts.
That was a really nice movie. That's the first time I've seen it because I said, like, I researched a little bit and I watched some previous some movies of his, and that was the first one I watched, and I haven't seen it before, so I thought I'll start here, which is also because it's probably the first big movie he ever did, and it was great. It was really great, and he's amazing in that. But moreover, it's like he's not even the main actor. The main actor is Johnny Depp, right?
Yeah.
But it's like the whole story is so well rounded out because of the way that the characters are built, and somehow revolves around him. And he is.
I think he was nominated though for that as a kid.
Yeah, let's have a look. I mean,
he didn't win. It took him a long time to win an Oscar, which was a really weird thing for.
Yeah, he got Best Supporting Actor nomination for it at the Academy Awards. But he should have gotten that, because damn, that was an amazing performance. Like, really, hell, you would have thought that he really was disabled just by watching that movie and not knowing.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I mean, when you watch any of his roles, you really buy into the character. Like, he's really good at that. There's so many movies that have been big hits and where he's performed brilliantly, and he hasn't won. It took him such a long time to win. It's almost astounding. It's like, you got to wonder what the fuck's wrong with Hollywood sometimes. It's like they should give out at least more than one of these awards. You get so many good movies that come out in one year. It's like, and you have to pick.
I'm not sure either why they won't give him one, because it's not like people don't know he's an amazing actor and he keeps pumping out all this stuff. So I don't know either, but no, it doesn't look like he's won one. So
yeah, but he should be getting an Oscar every 2 or 3 years. I mean, with the kind of movie, to be honest, I mean,
I think we should be able to agree that the Oscars isn't exactly the most, how would you say, the best benchmark for talent. But it's
not much.
It must be nice to be recognized, though, for them at least. And I know a lot of people, when they go to receive their awards, they really do genuinely look like they have a heartfelt gratitude for it, because they've been looking at it on a pedestal for their whole life. So I don't know if he's like that, but if he is like that, I hope he wins it. If he's not like that, then all the power to him. Who cares? He's still going to be one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood anyway.
I feel like the Oscars, and the Emmys and the Grammys and stuff, I feel like some of it sometimes is like almost bought off in a weird way.
Yeah, they always complain.
Like, I watch it some years and I'm like, there was one year I was just like, I was furious. I had no idea why I was furious, because it doesn't really apply to me. I was watching it on TV and I was like, the Golden Compass is the stupidest movie I ever saw. I won Best Picture over Transformers, Harry Potter, Pirates of the Caribbean, and a couple other movies. I'm just like, what?
Best action picture or something?
best picture, best motion picture, or something like that.
Get the hell out of here! What?
Yeah, it was ridiculous, and I was like, well, I mean, Harry Potter was awesome in the movie that came out at the time, and then they had like the third, like Pirates of the Caribbean that came out. It was fucking dope. They had Transformers that just came out, and that was incredible. I was like, one of those is gonna win. Fucking Golden Compass won. I'm like, this shit's rigged. Something's wrong with this.
The Golden Compass.
Who watches the Golden Compass anymore? No one watches the Golden Compass. No one fucking cares about that shit.
Okay, now I know what this is, but I haven't seen it. But at least it's got Daniel Craig in it, so you know. Okay, interesting stuff. But yeah, he hasn't won one, but I don't think he minds so much. I think he's interested in other stuff, like. But let's take a look at what he's done anyway, because I guess he's done a ton.
No, it's amazing he didn't get one for Titanic.
Yeah. Although Titanic,
when it grosses like $2 billion, and it's like the biggest movie of all time.
I think if he was going to win an Oscar for Titanic, he probably should have won it for being a heartthrob for teenage women everywhere.
Well, if that was the case, he should have won it for Romeo and Juliet, because that's what made him an international superstar. Actually,
yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that was.
It was a really controversial. It was a really controversial idea. If I remember it correctly, because we used to watch it all the time in high school too. Like they made us watch it. Like that's how popular it was. They wanted us to learn about Shakespeare and Romeo and Juliet. So the best way they do that is, give us the Leo version of it, the modern version of Romeo and Juliet.
Totally.
That's how popular it was.
Yeah.
But that movie, I think, was the first time he got to play like a lead role in like a love story almost. And that made him internationally famous with, everyone, media, women, stuff like that. And then when he landed Titanic, that just took him to superstardom at a very young age. I think it was like 25 or something.
Right.
24.
No, 25. He was younger than that for sure.
By the time Titanic was done, I think he was like 24. Could be wrong. Pretty sure.
DiCaprio in
Ask Siri.
Romeo and Juliet. I'll ask the next best thing or the first best thing. Google. 21 years old in Romeo and Juliet. That's very, very young.
Siri, how old was Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic?
Leonardo DiCaprio was 23 years old on the 19th of December, 1997, when Titanic was first released.
23.
Oh, that was when it was released. He was 22 when it was filmed.
Well, still, close enough. I like 23 better.
Because I Google.
Okay. Well, fuck you. Whatever works. 30 minutes in. I'm going to take a shot. 30 minutes in.
We're 30 minutes in already? Jesus, we haven't even spoken about anything yet.
Well, we're about to, Clement. We haven't had a second shot yet.
We haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet, folks.
No, it's going to get better. I
promise. It's going to get better after this shot, I'm pretty sure. God damn it. Just when you think like you're getting a drink, which is going to be easier than the last one, it's not.
All right, Clement, quit bitching. Tink. 3, 2, 1.
I give myself a week to recover from this episode, and it's like my body feels like a virgin again when it comes to alcohol. So when I do the shots today, like for example, my throat's really feeling it. It's all good though. Woo!
Yeah, I've been laying off the alcohol so I could save it for when we record. And that's been a bad decision because now my liver's taking a break.
Yeah.
Liver's taking a break and not handling it well.
It's funny. One of my experiences with alcohol is that if your liver gets used to it almost, right? And, starts to metabolize it a lot better. And the strange thing is like you can, I don't know. Let me see. So if I drink, and then if I drink a moderate amount of alcohol, and then the next morning I wake up and I look at myself in the mirror, it's like my face has like a kind of like a glow to it. And that sounds funny, right? Because you'd be thinking, well, you must look worse. And yeah, maybe I have more puffy eyes, but like there's something about it. And I read into it. Apparently it's because your liver excretes these enzymes and to break down the alcohol, but they're also very beneficial for your body too. And that might be one of the reasons why it might not be. It might not be.
Yeah. Your liver, produces like a phosphorescent chemical that makes Clement glow in the dark when he drinks.
Glow in the dark.
So yeah. I'll ask him if he's like drinking. I'm like, no, I'm not drinking. And I'm like, all right. And I turn off the lights and he's glowing and he's like, shit.
Well, let's just say if I stop drinking once we're done with the episode, I'm good. Like, it's actually probably not bad at all. But if I carry on, then yeah, it's not good at all. It's not sustainable. So we're having to be disciplined now for sure.
Yeah.
That's half the joy of this show though. Half the joy is the discipline that comes with it.
And be disciplined. We're not encouraging anyone to binge drink, but I will say this, if you do like to drink, you might as well steadily drink than, not drink at all and then pound something.
It's really getting into like some shallow or deep waters here, right?
We're getting into some shallow water here. But I'm just going to be honest from my own personal experience. This is not drinking advice.
It's not in any way advice.
I'm not a certified drinking professional. Do not use this for your own binging.
Trump, I am not a doctor. I'm not a doctor.
Duh. That's a funny man.
Yeah, well, we are, and so anyone watching this is basically advised to drink in moderation, and especially once we get sponsorship.
Yeah, I mean that's why the bottle says drink in moderation, not stop fucking drinking, you idiot. Like if you drink in moderate, I mean if you drink something on ice, you have a glass of something, every single night, like one glass, you're not going to kill yourself. It's not going to hurt your body. But your liver is going to be more used to it. If you have a little alcohol in your system, whether it's wine or a hard liquor or, a beer or two, your body's used to having alcohol in your system. You're going to process it a lot better. So, I mean, it's better than just saying, I'm going to be sober for 6 days and then go hard on one day.
Yeah, I think there's some truth to that. And that's what my experience has been as well. And studies have shown, at least when it comes to, let's just keep it to males. So studies have shown that if you get a couple of beers down you, your testosterone levels actually increase. But if you drink more than that, they can go right down to the floor. So there are benefits of having a bit of alcohol, I believe. There's a lot of contradictory studies, but especially when it comes to red wine, I think a glass of red wine a day, it in my opinion, based on the things that I've read, is actually going to be good for you.
Yeah, there's studies on a lot of different alcohols, like red wine. There's a lot of studies showing that if you have a glass a night, it's good for your heart long term, for your cardiovascular health, and for your mind too. Yeah. And then if you have a cold, like an old cure for the cold used to be to have a shot of tequila with lime. I know it sounds weird, but there are properties I forgot what they're called, but there are properties in tequila that, are antioxidant based because of the blue agave. And they will actually, help, one, relax your body and your throat, but will at the same time, aid in your immune system. And I'm not saying that you should pound tequila, but, maybe give it a shot. Have a shot of tequila with some lime.
What a pun. When
you have a cold, see what happens. It used to be an old trick. It's no different than saying chicken noodle soup, it will cure the cold. Yeah. It doesn't cure the cold, but, you do miraculously get better if you eat something like that because, there's properties to it that are good for you. The protein, the broth, chicken broth is fucking incredible. Probably one of the most underrated things you can do for your body, your immune system.
Full of nutrients in that.
Yeah, certain minerals and whatnot. So
we should do a whole episode on that. On
a whole episode on chicken broth.
Could do a whole episode on chicken broth.
We could do a health episode. We did a poll. There was a lot of people that were interested in that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. A lot of people that were interested in fitness.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'd be interested in health.
One. I mean, actually, we could do a fitness one. Doing fitness, if you want.
Health and fitness. Health and fitness.
Yeah, like
I think that'd be
actually
a good
doing
combo.
Some kind of workout for people watching, because we've both been incredibly active, and we could probably share a ton of tips and even like a little workout for home for here in the Corona period of
ton of tips. One of the other polls that did really well was college survival tips.
Yeah. We both ran those polls, didn't we? And on mine, it also did well. Yeah.
College. Yeah. So I'm not sure how much you want to talk about college, but I guess that's an episode I might have to carry on because, it'd be fun. I got so many stories.
I could talk about that. I could talk about university tips, but they're both pretty much exactly the same.
You could talk about scholastic tips. I could talk about surviving the social norms.
My university life was pretty much spent outside of the university, which was fun.
Mine was highly integrated with the university.
Yeah, I think there's different ways of playing the game, but essentially everything turned out okay. So you could listen to my advice if you want.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We could talk about all kinds of things. Talk about the educational system, talk about Greek life, talk about, inside versus outside the educational system, how that's evolving. That'd be fun. I have a lot of opinions on that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's do that then. We'll slot that into the queue. But yeah, like that's the cool thing about this particular podcast is it's like an anthology where you can do a different one every episode, so it keeps things fresh. And I think that's what people.
Yeah, and sometimes it's an off-topic anthology too. Like we don't even talk about the main subject.
Right.
So we just drink and we ramble on about. We're just drinking and rambling on about bullshit. I feel so bad for Leo.
But
Leo, like he's sitting right here, just giving me this dirty look. Like right now, like this was supposed to be about me, guys. Like, what are you doing?
So back to Leonardo. Anyway, he took off really quickly, right? So basically, once Romeo and Juliet was done, that was it. Everything changed. He was just constantly being asked to do blockbuster movies. I also looked into how he managed to get those roles, and he used to audition just like a bunch of other kids his age at the time, and one of them was Tobey Maguire, and he met Tobey in the auditions apparently, and so they made friends, and
interesting.
After that, 30 years later, they're doing The Great Gatsby together, and they're really close.
I know, that's kind of cool, right?
It is really cool. It is to be able.
They had a really good dynamic in that movie too. Like that's. I don't like all the dumb books they make us read in school, but I really like The Great Gatsby. It was a great book.
Right.
Really good book. And the movie was really on point. It was so good. Like Leo did an amazing job portraying Gatsby and like who he was and like everything we learned. Like it felt like everything I learned in school was literally in a movie. Like he portrayed it perfectly. And then Tobey Maguire and his quirkiness and everything. he did a great job playing Nick or whatever the guy's name is in the film. Complimenting him as like a co-star. It turned out really good. I love that movie. It's fantastic. I thought it was. I don't think it's necessarily Leo's best performance ever in terms of acting, but I think in terms of how he brought out a character. I think it was probably one of the best characters he ever brought out because he took a character in a book and brought it to real life. Right. And I really bought into it too. It was really good.
I'm just trying to think if he's done anything else that was based on a novel, apart from obviously Romeo and Juliet, which was a work of Shakespeare. But
well, he's done stuff based on some books and plays and things like that in the past. I can't remember all of them, but I know he has.
Right.
And he's pretty good at bringing out the character. Like Romeo and Juliet, he was bringing out the character, but they were trying to take like a modern approach to it.
Yeah.
So
That was
while they were
the
trying,
cool thing about that movie is that because I studied it in the Shakespeare Theatre Company when I was younger, and I studied Romeo and Juliet like as one of the things that we were doing in the plays, and it's very difficult. Like, oh God, anyone who's listening to this who knows what like you do, but people that are listening, I could probably hear a collective sigh because it's true. It's very difficult to understand that old English these days, and you need someone to help you decipher it. But I love I love the idea of, because there's some of the best stories, and there's some of the stories that get copied over and over, or the Shakespeare's work.
Yeah, well, it's so thick and hard to get through. Like I remember, because I took a bunch of poetry classes in high school and college, so don't judge me, but I found it very fascinating because I always liked writing.
Right.
I was just like, why are these people so dumb? Like, just write the. You don't need to write the. It's also stupid and so knightly. But and there was this art to it that was really weird.
Yeah.
In plays and poetry, and we put all that together. And I remember I was watching a film on Hamlet, and I was kind of in my mind comparing that to the Romeo and Juliet they did with Leo. And I was like, it's so difficult even to watch this film on Hamlet.
Was that
like,
the one with, was that the most recent one?
I don't know. It was an older one, but I remember watching it in school.
Fair enough.
But, you know, like I could barely understand the plays because you really had to get into it to understand it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the movie, like, okay, I could visualize it now, but understanding what they're trying to get across, their points and everything, it was so difficult. Like it wasn't that great of a movie to me.
Yeah, and the fact that it managed to last this long in curriculums is fascinating, because I'm pretty sure everyone feels the same way as you. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're trying to learn what someone's saying in a dead language, do you learn the dead language, or do you learn how to translate it into your language?
Exactly. And so here's the thing. We're learning about history in history, but we learn about history through our lens of language. So I feel like it's an important thing to retain the old language of the original works, but just, you know, modernize it so people can understand what they're trying to learn. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You know, that's something I think they don't do enough in educational systems too.
Yeah.
Shakespeare's incredibly important. You know, he's done so much work that's, you know, defined different areas in history. And, you know, when you look at that stuff, you know, they tell stories not only of the imagination, but also of like things that actually happened back then. It's important to understand it. And I understand the value in that. But if you don't take it and find a way to modernize it, so that it's understandable for our generation, hundreds of years later,
you just waste time.
you know, then and it's work that's going to be lost. You want it to be timeless, right? Then it needs to be understandable. So you know, that's the thing I like so much about the Romeo and Juliet movie. Yeah, it was very modernized and it was a little silly, but it was big and it was successful because it took an old concept and made it very understandable and relatable for modern people. And that's important. And I think that's something that we need to see more of. Honestly, in Hollywood too. Like I don't mind the big crazy blockbuster movies that come out, but you know, history has all the stories you ever need. If you could just take that and modernize it.
So true. So
you know,
true.
There's
We're
a lot of
watching the same stories over and over again, just with a different flavor. You know, you just reminded me, there are now services, books, people that do this for a living, and they take, like, for example, the works of Seneca or, you know, Marcus Aurelius and any of the really old books, the philosophical books, the Tao Te Ching, and, you know, they'll translate it and they'll give you the meaning in your own language. And it's actually beneficial, because otherwise you might pick that book up and you might never really get it. So, so there is a need, there is a demand for it. It's just a shame, like we said, that it's not really being done by the school system.
I'm kind of tired of the typical tropes, you know, in these stories. You know, poor guy struggles, finds woman, strives for woman, fights back, becomes hero, slays dragon. Like I'm tired of all the like typical stuff you see in every single movie.
Yeah.
Like why is it so difficult?
We fixated on that, didn't we? The good and the bad, like the hero. And
but I mean, I don't know how much you studied history, but I mean, if you look at history, you know, there's so many amazing stories. You know, some of the best movies have been based on history too. Like why can't we have a movie about Alexander the Great? Why can't we have a movie about Attila the Hun or the Eastern Roman Empire, you know, or the different dynasties in China? Like there's some incredible stories and things that have happened in history that are better than the stupid, you know, tropes that we go through constantly in these blockbuster movies that everyone pays for.
I think you just spelled it out. Like a blockbuster is a algorithmic formula that Hollywood has stuck to when it started to make.
They're giving people what they want to see, unfortunately.
Yeah, and they're giving them what stimulates them the most, and that's why Marvel movies are all the same. Essentially, there's a hero and a villain, and then they fucking go through some challenges, and then they beat the villain, and that's it. Boom. But you know, going back to history again. This is a very Western story kind of character, like that you see with all these movies. It's a trait of Western storytelling, and for example, back in you know the old European continent, where you know you've got the Vikings, and their stories used to be not about beating evil and destroying it, but more about kind of overcoming challenges together and becoming friends at the end. And you could never imagine seeing a Marvel movie where like Thanos becomes Thor's best friend. I mean,
I have a hard time seeing a group of Vikings sitting down after they slaughtered a village and stole a woman and being like, "We're going to be the best friends ever."
But yeah,
let's head to the north.
His severed
takes
head.
the women and head to the north.
His severed head is my best friend. I don't know why I'm speaking with a German accent, but I'm
sits
sure
down with a loaf of bread in his left hand and an axe in his right hand. We're going to be great friends. I just don't see that, but
yeah.
Okay.
There's another episode right there, man. We should do an episode on history. That would be
good.
Yeah, civilizations.
You pick a point in history because it could get
pretty, the whole of history. Let's do the 13.9 billion years of history.
Yeah, the history of Earth with Zemp and Clement.
How long do you have? That's the tagline.
You know, there's a YouTube video that's really funny that has like the history of Earth, and it blows through like the entire history of Earth in like 15 minutes or something.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I love
it's super fucking funny.
Yeah,
these people kill these people. These people kill those people.
Yeah,
it was over. They became friends and they killed each other.
What's also fascinating is the kind of the charts that show the race between whatever the y-axis is. It's like it could be the countries in terms of their economic growth, and there's like a race over time, and you can see the time expanding on the x-axis. And I love those kinds of videos. There was one for COVID-19 recently.
Yeah.
And it was really fun too.
Yeah, there was one where like the US just magically shot to number one. I'm like, why do we have to be number one at everything?
Yeah.
Like this is the case where we don't need to be number one. We could have just given it to Italy. Like, I don't get it.
That's exactly the one I'm referring to. But yeah. There's some really good ways of visualizing these things. But anyway,
biological Olympics.
Back to Leonardo. You said that, he used to hang around when he was on set and everything, kind of being a young child actor, but taking it seriously. Do you think a lot of that was because of the fact that he was mixing with very successful actors that are obviously a lot older than him? Like I remember when he did, what was it? The Man in the Iron Mask, and he had Jeremy Irons and
from what I've heard, at least what I've heard and what I've learned, you know, a lot of these actors, especially ones that were older than him, like completely adored him too, and were loved him as an actor because he was so bought into his role and he was so passionate about it. He was also in some ways kind of an introvert, kind of a loner. Like he didn't want to hang out with other people other than like the adults he was hanging out with. He was always hanging out with people older than him. So he was always learning things, and he was very wise and mature for his age, you know. And then when he got older, I mean, that stuff just, you know, evolved and carried over. So he's almost like a different person too. Like when he was a childhood actor, teenage actor, early 20s, he had completely different personality to him almost. Like he's the same guy and he does some crazy roles still, but he's not as crazy with his roles as he was back then. He's more like deeper with his roles, if that makes sense.
You mean
like some of the movies,
4 movies?
4 or 5 movies. Yeah. I mean, well, he does some roles that are like really, really deep.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe with the exception of like Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe The Revenant. That was an interesting movie. It was good though.
No, The Revenant. That was.
I like how
that was definitely.
They played on the like the frontier aspect of history. They had Tom Hardy in it. I thought that was a good combo.
Yeah, they're really good friends apparently now. I mean, this is the thing. When I saw a documentary about him yesterday, basically the recurring theme was he just likes to make people his friend, and so he does. I think he's quoted as saying, if I want someone to be my friend, I make them my friend. And that's really interesting because...
Well, isn't that something like any good actor or actress could do? Pretend to be someone's best friend?
Yeah, totally. But
he's playing all of them. He's tricking them all. It's part of his scheme.
It does speak, though, to like maybe what his underlying psychology is, because I think growing up, as popular as he was, and I'm starting to sound like a pundit now, which is not everything I'd ever want to be associated with. But I would imagine it'd be very difficult to navigate that kind of world, especially with all the predators in Hollywood. And I've heard many very disgusting and awful stories about child molestation and things. So I'm sure that he was an exception to that. And he did have a group of guys that he got together as his like, you know, kind of comfort zone, and they would always hang out together. And he didn't want to hang out with, you know, what he would call the badasses of Hollywood, which would be probably the up and coming or the established stars rather. So he had this group of just low key people, like for example, Tobey Maguire, and they got into a bit of trouble because guys in gangs usually get into trouble. That's just one of the side effects of having a male-dominated group. But overall, I think it was just to be able to deal with the pressure of being so popular at such a young age.
Yeah, got a yawn. Sorry, bro.
I don't mean to make you yawn and everything, but
there's a pre-shot yawn. I don't know what happened there. I mean, when you're on set, like you're making a movie or you're filming for a TV show, but you're doing it for like long periods of time, you know, you're surrounded by certain people constantly, in company with them for long periods of time. Like take Titanic, for example. What's her name? The co-star with him?
Kate
Winslet. Yeah. Spent a lot of time with her. I heard they're incredible friends. Obviously James Cameron was directing, and James Cameron and him were very close. So she probably learned tremendously from James Cameron.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
You know, imagine all the other movies too, where he's been around incredible actors and actresses, directors, you know, supporting cast members and whatnot that, you know, are good company to be with, you know. I think he's probably learned a lot from that. That's, you know, who he spent a lot of his time with. I mean, you're in Hollywood. What else are you doing?
Yeah.
You at In-N-Out Burger, or you know, on set? You're most likely on set. So you're not probably hanging out with the wrong crowd all that much.
Well, he was either drunk in a club or in a hotel or on set. So, you know, he had the best of both worlds. But, you know, they say, like I said, I think in another episode we had, you're the product of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So imagine being able to spend most of your time with just very talented, seasoned professionals in your industry. I mean, wow, who gets to do that?
I think he likes to be that person too. Because I've heard all kinds of stories with younger actors and how he's given them a lot of advice or taken them in to give them advice.
Oh, I think so. Now he's doing
like
paying it forward.
Like Zac Efron, for example. Like Zac Efron, when he was, getting super famous from some of his movies like 17 Again, and even before like Baywatch and whatnot, he was getting the same attention from women and paparazzi, just insane amount that Leo got when he was younger. And Zac Efron was telling stories about how Leo would, take him to his house, make him breakfast, talk to him about the paparazzi, how to handle things and whatnot, burn pancakes, say fuck it, make waffles. And it's interesting. I feel like with a lot of younger stars these days that are just as popular as I guess he was back then. I don't know if it's comparable or not, but he seems to like being one of those people that gives younger people advice too. I think he likes passing things down. He seems like a genuinely like really good guy. Like I really haven't seen him, in a bad situation. He seems to like be pretty straight edge in some ways.
Yeah. And think about the temptation to go the other way in his situation. I mean, growing up through that, I mean, if you're not very vigilant about your choices, your career could be over within a fraction of a second. So
he very easily could have gone the Justin Bieber route.
You think Justin Bieber took a dive off a hill? Off a cliff?
I don't think he took a dive off a hill, but he did a lot of dumb shit for sure. He did. I mean, he was a good kid and everything, didn't come from much, worked his ass off. His mom put him in amazing positions, to give him opportunities, and he excelled when he was given those opportunities, and he did really well for a long time. And as he got older, what guy wouldn't be happy to have women clawing at him all the time?
I think he's okay though, given everything.
He's come out okay. He's come out a lot better, but he definitely, for a period of time, a few years, somewhere in there, he was in a very questionable area where he was getting himself in trouble, doing some illegal things. Could have very easily gone downhill.
I'm going to say something here. I feel like it could be the determining factor of whether or not you can handle that kind of success. If your upbringing is either good or bad, and if your relationship with your family, specifically your parents or your parent, is good or bad, because I think the statistics basically say it all. And it's shown that if there's an absentee parent, or if there's not a great kind of upbringing, like a good set structure, in terms of how you've been parented, how you've been taught, that you're much more likely to fail, quote unquote, fail in life than if you've been given enough support and taught properly. And not just in terms of skills or knowledge, but in terms of a moral framework as well, which is probably the most important part. But something tells me he has great parents, and you told us earlier that he grew up with immigrant parents. I'm sure that played a big part, because they're probably very hardworking and very careful and vigilant.
Yeah, but they didn't do very well. They lived on not Skid Row, but it was,
I hope they didn't live.
It was like Skid Row. I forgot what it's called, but it was a bad part of LA. Like he had a very similar upbringing to Bieber. Like they both didn't have like the best circumstances necessarily growing up, but they created their opportunities and took advantage of them. I think the only difference is his was in film and Bieber's was in music. Those are two completely different things, but in terms of entertainment.
But I know that he had, his dad was invested in him enough to kind of produce some.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of money though. They didn't have means. Like they were struggling quite a bit too.
But do you think Do you think that makes a substantial difference in terms of the person that you become? Like because I don't.
I think it's who you hang out with, honestly. Like Leo was hanging out with, a lot of people that were older and more mature than him, and he was very focused. Bieber was an international superstar at a very young age, but I don't think he surrounded himself with the right people. And I think that set him back a little bit. But I mean, he seems to be good now. He seems to be, creating music on track, a little bit more mellow, a little more balanced out. But there's a period of time where he was kind of just going wild with it, being young and enjoying having women clot him and having crazy friends and whatnot, which I can understand. None of that's easy, but I mean, the difference, I think the people you hang out with, like Leo hung out with a completely different crowd.
It's possible. I think it makes a big difference. Yeah. I think it makes a big difference.
Who's influencing every single day? Who's telling you what you should or shouldn't do, or encouraging you or not encouraging you to do something? That has a huge influence on you, especially when you're young. Like if your friends are begging you to come out and go hang with them, there's a lot of pressure to do that. Are they asking you to come, start a business with them? Or are they asking you to come, go fucking egg the neighbor's house? Like it all kind of depends on your friend group, but that social pressure's there. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how famous. It's just like, if you value someone and they're asking you to go do something with them, you're likely to go buy that monkey or piss in a bucket or egg that house. So dumb shit happens around people.
Joaquin Phoenix is another child star. His brother was a child star too, River Phoenix. I don't know if you're familiar with River, but he died from I think it was was it heroin overdose? He died from a drug overdose. And I think that's an example of when perhaps, like you said, things don't go the way they could have gone because you made some decisions. Another child star, I don't know why I know so much about this, but another child star is Drew Barrymore. And she went through a phase like that, but she was lucky to pull it back just in time. And now she's doing fine, I think. But she went through a phase where people were like, is she going to, turn out like Amy Winehouse, or is she going to be okay? And she turned out to be okay. So it's a really tricky thing. I think you need to be around the right people, including family members, because I don't think friends are enough. But I'm not lucky enough to know how that would have ended up for me.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to find out. Fame sounds like a very terrifying thing.
It does. It does. On one side, it does, and on the other side, it kind of sounds like if you're able to manage it properly, you can have the best of everything, perhaps. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I always get a kick out of what happens to these Disney stars. Because I grow up watching all these kids that are superstars on like Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and shit like that. And then they grow up and they're
messed up
and they're like sex symbols or doing drugs and
right. It's like the opposite.
What's going on?
Trying to get away from that stereotype.
Yeah. First you're watching Brenda's song on Sweet Life of Zach and Cody act like a little prissy teenage girl. Next thing you know, she's sucking Zuckerberg's dick in a bathroom stall on Social Network.
Oh, right. Okay. She was on the Disney Channel. Okay. All right.
Yeah. I mean, you're just like, what's going on with these Disney stars? And then next time you're watching Ariana Grande and this little cute show on Nickelodeon. The next thing you know, she's an international superstar and sex icon. And, in the throes with Mac Miller and Pete Davidson. You're just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It's like, how do these characters evolve? It's like, it's got to be the fame or something.
The pressure we put people through, not just young, not just like juveniles, but also adults in general, the pressure that we're put through just to, live up to the personas that we create for ourselves can be shattering sometimes. And the thing that we become most interested in is like breaking that and just being who we want to be. But then, I guess if you're subjected to that lifestyle enough, the reaction is going to be proportional. So, imagine if you're just, I don't know, it's the same with boy bands as well. Like the boy band will be sweet and innocent, and then when they finally break up and then they become solo artists, like they can finally do the things they wanted to do all that time. But I don't know.
I think it depends. I mean, we want to talk about the Jonas Brothers. I mean, they've pretty much broken up, and Nick Jonas is doing great.
Oh, no, absolutely. I'm not saying that they don't do as good. In fact, they sometimes I don't know, like Ariana Grande did a lot better. Britney Spears did a lot better. Justin Timberlake did a lot better. But it just shows you what they were wanting to do, probably for a lot of the time that they were being still stereotyped that way. And in some cases, you see it manifest in their personal life as well. Like Britney had a breakdown, which everyone probably remembers, where she went bald and did some crazy stuff. Miley Cyrus had a breakdown, but that was probably precipitated.
Don't even get me started on Miley Cyrus. Jesus, she went from sweet little country girl in Hannah Montana to finding what twerking is.
I like that. I like that person. I feel like she's found her groove now after all of that. And so the same could be said about Britney Spears. I think they needed to go through that. Like I said, the pressure was so great that the response had to be proportionate. And I feel like they pressure themselves so much that when they finally break free, it has to be of that magnitude, and then they can finally let it out. So
there's so many artists that go through it, and I think we kind of we brush it off sometimes. Even Taylor Swift is going through it too. Like she used to be a sweet young teenage girl with all her country music and everything. She was awesome, like superstar. Yeah. Now she's like in the throes of pop music and is like very, very outgoing with her opinions on women, which are fine. I think it's awesome and music and stuff. But I mean, also with her body and everything, it's just completely different. And I'm just like, okay, well, this isn't the little girl doing country music anymore.
People grow up. People grow up.
Yeah.
That's just,
some people grow up, but I mean, some people grow up and completely change. And it's almost like, well, just accepting reality.
Didn't see that. Yeah, but for everything said, Leonardo seems to have conquered. I mean, when you think of Hollywood actors, he's definitely in the top. Yeah, he's definitely in the top 10. I don't know if he's definitely in the top 5, but he's definitely in the top 10.
I don't think you can measure it based on Oscars and nominations.
No.
I think he's a good example of how that's not fair. Yeah. And how he's kind of been screwed over a little bit. But, in terms of being an actor, he's a legend, and a modern legend at that, being able to reinvent characters and roles, to expand them, to modernize them, to bring out a character in a book or in a play, to real life, to bring and match the character of a real personality, a real person, and tell their story, even if it is overly dramatic, like Jordan Belfort, for example.
But Jordan Belfort is overly. Have you ever?
He is overly dramatic, but I mean,
watched him.
Yes, I have, and he's awesome. I'm not sure which version of him I like better, his authentic version or the Jordan Belfort.
Well, that's just. I think I like the Jordan Belfort today better, but I find the Jordan Belfort kind of crawling to his Lamborghini much more entertaining.
It's far more entertaining. I don't know if that ever happens, but it was incredibly funny.
It was. That was great.
In such a fucked up way. Like, you should not be laughing at that movie. You should not be laughing at any of it, but you are. It's amazing how they can take a movie like that, will take something that happened in history and turn it into something so fucking funny.
Yeah. Crazy. And I'm not even, it's like, it was clearly wrong for him to do that. Jordan, but
yeah,
it was clearly very wrong for him to do that. But there's something very romantic about the idea of someone doing exactly what they want, even if it's not, even if it's not good for everyone, if it's what they want and they just unabashedly go out and do it. Like all of the tales of the train robbers, Billy the Kid.
Yeah, but it's like, how do you look at it though? Like there was kind of like an underlying like moral to The Wolf of Wall Street, to the movie. It was mostly a dramatic comedy, but there was a moral where, he was doing what he wanted, what he believed in, but at the same time, he was also changing people's lives too. He was helping a lot of people. Not just teaching them, but also like providing for them and giving them, means to.
Oh, you mean his clique?
His clique, his coworkers, his following, gave him knowledge, gave him money, gave him opportunities. Changed a lot of lives too. Mm-hmm. Brought people out of situations they would never be able to pull themselves out of.
True.
He did something that's illegal. He did something that, went against what our written laws are. But I mean, we have those debates all the time, for financial reasons. Some of it's kind of stupid, and others he's did a bunch of drugs and was crazy and very outgoing and unabashed. There's consequences to that too. But, I think morally, it's a different answer. Like, did he do something illegal? Yes. Did he do something wrong? I think that's up to you. And I think that's
right.
I think that's an interesting part of that movie, an interesting part of Jordan Belfort's story.
Yeah.
Maybe that movie kind of reinvented him too. Yeah. The movie really reinvented him. He's just doing well and
it definitely successful. Gave him a platform, because when you come out of jail for something like that, I'm assuming it's very difficult to get back on your feet.
Yeah.
So he probably did a good thing for himself to sell his story to Hollywood, if that's what happened. If someone didn't walk up to Jordan or call him and say, hey, we want to do a biopic, if he actually went and took the initiative, which I think he might have, given how I understand Jordan to be, he probably took the initiative and kind of convinced Hollywood to do it. Probably had some connections too. So,
what I'm wondering is if he did that himself, or if Hollywood reached out to him, if Leo reached out to him and wanted to take on that role. I haven't really looked into that, but it'd be curious to see what was the driving factor. Was Jordan Belfort pushing for Hollywood to reinvent his story somehow, which is tough to do, or did Hollywood or Leo or the director just say this is a story we should run with?
I'm kind of curious. It could be any of those, actually. I don't know. I haven't checked, but it's not uncommon for even actors, but also directors, producers, to buy the rights to books or pieces of art, and in the hope that one day they can convert them to the big screen. Mm-hmm. And I've heard of a bunch of projects that actors and people in Hollywood have been trying to bring to the big screen for a long time, but they just haven't been able to, for whatever reason, maybe because of scheduling conflicts or whatever, or funding. Mm-hmm. But it's possible. But yeah, I mean, if anyone's listening to this and they haven't seen anything from Jordan Belfort online on YouTube, go and check it out, because it's uncanny. The representation from Leonardo DiCaprio is spot on. He really gets.
Yeah, well, that tells you that Leo studied hard for that too. That he did his research and bought into that role and that character, which means not only was he talking with him, but he was studying him, his personality.
Yeah.
So
they hung out a lot together, apparently.
If Leo is that into a role, and then he's interested in it in general. So maybe he pushed for it. Who knows?
Shot time.
I think it's time to take shots.
It is time to take shots. Mine's just been sitting there
lonely shot glass.
There's only a few other actors that I know of that do that kind of thing. And the first one that comes to mind is Christian Bale. I think they call it, it's not method acting. Is it method acting?
I don't know the lingo, but Christian Bale's good. But in terms of buying into a role, I wouldn't put him in the same category as Leo. I would, however, put.
Okay, it's interesting.
But I mean, in terms of buying into a role,
right?
Johnny Depp, I'd put in the same category, or even more so. Johnny Depp, when he buys into a role, he's a completely different person. It's insane.
Right. I mean, you can see that with the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, but I mean, look at that with Edward Scissorhands, Pirates of the Caribbean, Willy Wonka, Transcendence. Yeah, all these movies he's done. He's incredible when it comes to taking a character and just being the character. Like Leo's good at that too, but Leo's not putting on makeup and transforming himself.
That's a really good point right there, because wait, hold on. Has Johnny Depp won any Oscars?
If he hasn't, I'd be surprised. Let's see. Yeah. Let's ask Siri.
Oh, no.
This could be a new feature.
No, he hasn't. He's just got nominated for it.
Hey, Siri, has Johnny Depp won an Oscar?
I'm not sure if Johnny Depp won, but I can help you search for award wins by movie.
Wow, and Siri doesn't even know.
Bitch. Oh, that's funny. Well, I think it's maybe because they're not really published anywhere unless they publish them on their website. But then again, I don't know. It's funny that she doesn't know.
I could see Johnny Depp sitting there with his iPhone, be like, "Hey Siri, how many Oscars have I won?" Well, and then she's like, "Sorry, Johnny, I don't know." Like, oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, you know what we could do? We could do like an episode where we talk about the best, the top actors or actresses, and kind of like compare them, because there's so many nuggets of different people's performances that would merit conversation. Like I can think of, in terms of Christian Bale, American Psycho is one of the most amazing transformations I've seen of anyone in film. Like it's just insane how it's literally quite insane, because he's playing a psychopath. But yeah, that's one of the best character performances I've ever seen. And then I think Jared Leto did an amazing job in Dallas Buyers Club, where he transformed into like a, what would you call that? Like trance. So yeah, there's tons of roles.
And Christian Bale also did I don't know if you ever saw the movie, I think it's called Exodus, where it talks about the whole Moses story.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I was telling my mother about it yesterday, because I was like trying to get her to watch Netflix, and she's really religious. And I was like, maybe you should watch this. I haven't seen it. Why? Is it really good?
No, it's really good. It's definitely got this blockbuster twist to the whole Moses story, but it's almost like it's realistic too. It's like it takes like the plagues and everything and makes them feel like it's something real that could have happened.
Right.
It's really good too. Some great acting in it. It's a little bit of history to it. And then Christian Bale does an incredible job playing Moses, and kind of like bringing out the biblical side, but also like this historical, realistic side.
Right.
So it didn't feel like you're watching something religious. It felt like you're watching a part of history.
Bingo.
I thought that was an incredible movie.
And I have to tell my mom about it. Underrated. I've been wanting to watch something with, my mom and my dad, so we can have a proper, like we used to.
I sit down and get some popcorn, watch Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, she watched that the other day. She's like, "Do you want to watch this?" I was like, "Nah, I'm good. I know what happens. I don't need to see it." Yeah, apparently it's very difficult to watch that.
Okay, I'm going to take this shot. You ready?
Yep. 3,
all right.
2,
1. Tink.
That's not a friendly feeling.
I just realized that.
Well, how does it taste to you? What's the flavor like taking a shot?
It tastes like a Corona bat.
A Corona bath?
A Corona bat. I just realized the logo for Bacardi on the bottle is a bat.
Sure.
It's the Corona bat.
This tastes sweet, undeniably, but it is too much for, it's too much to take in this form. I think it would be nice with on the rocks. Put a bit of lime in there, maybe. And like a tiny bit of soda. I don't know. That would be nice.
I wish I had some lime right now. That'd be wonderful. But I'd need some tequila. Or I could get some Corona. Corona's on quite a discount here in Colombia.
I bet it is. And it's also stocked to the max in the UK.
Yeah, no one's grabbing it off the shelf. Again, it's so weird what people grab off the shelf. They're still going for the fucking bread.
Still going for the bread?
Yeah, and the alcohol is completely restocked. Like people will go for the hard alcohol, but it's fully restocked now. No one's touching the beer for whatever reason. No one's touching the rice or the spaghetti or any of the non-perishables. It's like everyone's just buying normal shit. I'm just like, well,
that's cool.
More for me, I guess.
Yeah, in the UK, we're going for the toilet roll still, for some reason. But yeah, like
I don't know why though. Like one roll lasts like a fucking long time if you get the big jumbo rolls. So
it's like following. It's like they're following the herd, isn't it? Once it starts, it's undeniable. You're going to get a lot of people kind of jumping on board. But we're good for toilet roll, just in case you're wondering, everyone. Yeah.
I think people have adapted pretty well so far too. Like people aren't, freaking out as much. Everyone's getting used to the situation, at least here in Medellin. Like businesses are still making money. Like the delivery service for business is booming. Uber Eats, Rappi, everything that delivers food here in Colombia, they're working nonstop right now, delivering because people have to stay at home. They can't go outside except for 1 day a week, sometimes 2 days a week.
Really? Oh God.
Yeah, we can't go anywhere. So, people are stuck at home. But
it's different in every country. Like, and I'm glad that the military hasn't gotten involved, or the police seem to not have gotten involved, at least as far as you've been telling me, right, in Colombia.
I was really worried about the police or military getting involved, but the good thing here is that we have so far successfully curved the cases for coronavirus.
Yeah.
I think it's topped out at like almost 4,000 across the country, and we only have 200 or so cases in Medellin,
right?
Which is incredible based on how quickly it's fucking grown everywhere else. So what they're doing here is working. And we're all kind of hoping we can do some more normal things by the 27th, which is when it's supposed to end. But, they're probably going to have to keep the airport shut down for a while. One of the biggest reasons, this is spread is on airplanes, people bringing it from other countries. That's how Colombia got it. So I imagine that air travel will be very strict, but I think some normal things will pick up again soon. But what I worry about most is this second wave. And I don't know if it'll be bad here or not. But I know in most places, that second wave is going to hit hard because everyone's stuck at home, antsy as shit. As soon as they can go do a normal thing, they're going to spend all their money, fuck everyone that walks, drink every bottle they can find. It's going to be a disaster. It's going to be absolute fucking disaster. I'm just waiting for it to happen.
Yeah. Well, let's bide our time and hope for the best. Hope for the best. Expect the worst. It's skyrocketing in the U.S. right now. I know we shouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah, I know.
I am just flabbergasted at the amount of new infections. And, I hope people in the U.S. don't adopt the Jacksonville mindset, because it's shocking to me how that beach filled up that quickly. Come on, guys. Anyway.
No, people are stupid. I'm telling you. People are... they're not smart. They're going to follow the herd. They're going to want, as soon as they think that things are normal, because, your government tells you things are normal, they're going to go to the extreme. Most young people didn't get a spring break. We're on the cusp of summer. People want to get out there right now. Yeah. It's going to be a huge problem. Everyone's seriously going to be fucking everything that walks, drinking everything on the table, buying everything they can. They're going to be moving around like crazy. I guarantee you this is going to crop up and it's going to be as bad as the first wave. It's at least in these countries, these big first world countries. I don't know if that'll happen or not in Colombia. They seem, smarter on average, in my opinion, as people, but it's going to happen. I'm obviously trying to be optimistic, but that's the reality.
It will happen. Yeah. I don't think we're going to
bet on it
anytime soon, but I think things will change after this. So we're going to have to keep our distance for a long time, probably until a vaccine comes out. But
throughout the year, my friends, we're not going to have a vaccine for a while, and this virus mutates and it's very malicious. So, I mean, this is going to be a year-long issue. The question is, are people really going to take it seriously and adapt, to curb this virus and then have better standards going forward? Are people going to stop eating bats in wet markets? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Are we going to have better procedures? Are people going to wash their hands more? I don't know.
I hope they do. I hope they do stop eating bats. I really hope they do.
I don't see the point. What's wrong with chicken? Why do you have to eat chicken of the cave? I don't get it. What's wrong with just eating chicken? What?
That's a whole episode right there. Is the wildlife trade in China? I mean, it's a complicated beast.
When you eat whatever walks down the street, there's a problem, a societal problem. That's not culture. That's just messed up. This is 2020. Just because you see somebody walk down the street.
And so just to touch on this a little bit, most people don't actually eat that stuff. It's a very specific clientele, and usually they're very rich. So, have you ever heard of the tiger trade? You probably have.
Yeah.
I mean, that is not the average person's meal. First of all, they could never afford it. So it's there for a certain demographic, and this demographic is incredibly wealthy. And it's that kind of social stratification, and it's ridiculous, I know, but it's there. And they also have a powerful lobbying presence in the government. So it gets complicated. It makes a lot of money every year.
It baffles me how stupid people can be rich sometimes.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think financial status is any indication of intelligence.
No, I think in many situations it's not. And I think in some of these...
and I stand by being poor. No,
who wants to eat a tiger? Why would you want to eat a tiger? This doesn't make sense. Why would you want to eat a bat or a ferret?
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Why?
I mean, at the same time, it's like, why would you want to own a yacht? Like, okay, fair enough. Like, but you don't really need one, do you? But I guess there's a whole nother level to eating an animal, which is obviously endangered, or you shouldn't even be touching.
There's a difference between wanting to have a big, nice boat, and going and sailing and having a great time with friends or family. It's another to say, I want to kill this exotic animal and eat it because it makes me feel superior.
Yeah, there's probably a big difference.
That's a huge difference.
Anyway, back to Wilhelm DiCaprio. Yeah. So what's your favorite? Okay. What are your top 3 Leonardo DiCaprio movies? Because I'm sure we've all seen more than 3.
I'm just going to start with number 1 because that's the one I know for certain. That's Inception.
Okay.
And then if I have to pick a 2 and 3, I'd have to say...
I think I know what they're going to be, but you go ahead and I'll tell you if I was right.
And I have to pick one based on something that's just fucking entertaining. So Wolf of Wall Street would be 2 or 3.
Okay.
I think it's awesome that he can like bring out a real life person's character, but also turn it into a comedy and be that entertaining. It was a great movie.
It was a great movie.
It was a great movie. And then my other number 2 or 3 would probably be, God, it's hard to pick.
It's a tough one.
Probably Romeo and Juliet.
Okay.
Just because I like poetry. Okay. I think it's a interesting old form of art and writing that's kind of lost now.
Yeah.
And I think being able to show that you could take something that's that sacred to people and old and modernize it. I think there's something very special about that. And then, also it's like a pivoting point for him in his career that turned into a superstar. It's one of those movies that, we were made and forced to watch when I was in high school, when I was in college, no matter what. because it taught us about Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And it's, it's not just like a movie with random actors you don't know. It had Leonardo DiCaprio.
I feel like Shakespeare, if were he alive today, he would have
loved it.
Approved of Romeo and Juliet.
If Shakespeare were alive today, he would have been like, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah. Why didn't I thinketh of that?
Why,
I don't know how the fuck I would have said it, but
why didn't thine think of this, of that?
Yeah. They need to make like a translator for that. They tried, but it doesn't really work very well. I would have loved the proper one.
Old Nordic.
Just no demand for it anymore.
Who maketh thine movie about thine poetry?
Wouldn't that be hilarious though if Google did do that just for a PR stunt and everyone ended up using it and we all started talking in old English with each other? That would be funny as fuck.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Yeah.
Cometh with me, Clement, to thine bar.
All right. So for me, let's see. My favorite is going to be, well, I did like Inception a lot, to be honest with you. So I'm going to be boring, but it's just because it's true. I'm not going to lie. I think I liked Inception the most, and it's probably
I think we should talk about it though.
Not for his performance necessarily, but just because out of all of the movies he's done, that was the one I found most entertaining, and I think that's part.
Yeah, well, he's done a few movies that are kind of deep and that make you think, and they're also kind of like confusing at the end and throw you off.
Yeah. But that's Christopher Nolan for you. I mean, Jesus, he's one of the masters of modern cinema.
Yeah, I know.
With most of his movies now.
But Leo's been in a few like that. Did Christopher Nolan do Shutter Island as well?
No, Shutter Island was Martin Scorsese, I think.
Okay,
yeah,
I think
Martin Scorsese, yeah.
I think Leo's kind of an influence in that too. I think that's just kind of the stuff he likes.
No, yeah, for sure. No, I think he does.
Seems to have this fascination in like the mind and everything.
Yeah.
And the thing I liked about Inception the most that makes it my favorite movie with him, it explores a different trope. Like it's not like a good versus evil or hero movie or a love story or anything like that necessarily. Like there's that stuff is kind of in there, but it's about a concept, and it dives so deeply into a concept that you get lost in it and you're fascinated.
Yeah.
This whole idea of not just dreaming, but being able to manipulate someone's mind via a dream, being able to remove a memory or put in a memory, fabricate something and change someone's entire, course in life, their entire destiny based on one moment, via their dreams. It was a really interesting concept, and it made me think a lot too when I first saw that movie. And I'm like, what if that was possible, or is that possible? Like, could you seed an idea in someone's mind through a dream? Like, would that actually work? They explained it in such an intricate way that, it almost seems believable.
Yeah.
It could be believable or real.
It wasn't not having for me, you might laugh, but I really genuinely did think about this. And it was Jurassic Park when it first came out. I was wondering, is it possible to find, because there are tons of amber droplets with, ancient insects in there. I was like, is it possible to get, blood or DNA from a mosquito like millions of years ago and use that? But apparently it's not. So we can't. But
the thing about Jurassic Park, there was a key lesson. It's that, genetics is much more complicated than we think.
Right.
The problem that with Jurassic Park, like in the movie, the problem that caused the dinosaurs to be smarter or to breed faster, to do all these things and made them dangerous, that caused all these problems, was you were filling their genome with the genome of a similar species because you didn't have a complete genome.
Yeah.
You could collect some DNA from an amber blood sample from millions of years ago to bring a dinosaur back, but you'd have to fill in the gap somehow. Most likely that DNA is damaged.
I still remember
they've done that.
They played on the when they were showing, explaining it. It was really good the way they did that. It was like Disney.
Yeah, they found like frozen like woolly mammoth like body parts or mini woolly mammoths and stuff like that, and they've got enough like DNA and stuff from like bone marrow that they think they could actually clone a woolly mammoth and bring it back to life, like the whole species. Wow. You know, breeding it with elephants or using elephant DNA to fill in the gaps.
Wow.
Like, yeah, they could do that. It's possible. They're like working on it. But, you know, I don't think there's anything dangerous about elephants that would make woolly mammoths like a huge threat to humanity, like with Jurassic Park. But I mean, there's some scientific stuff that they do throw in there that's pretty accurate that, you know, plays a part in like the central part of that movie, which is the disaster of Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Well, they're bringing the whole cast back for the next one. So that'll be fun to watch. A bit of nostalgia there.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Jurassic Park.
But yeah, these movies, they are mind blowing because you've never seen anything like that before. At least I hadn't seen anything like Shutter Island when I watched it. So that would be either my second or my third favorite movie. By the way, on this, while we're talking about this specific film, The Shutter Island, it's a psychological thriller. And it's very deep because it goes deep into the mind of this guy and what he believes is reality opposed to actually what is reality, and you completely get thrown off. Another great movie I watched recently, which you might want to check out, is called The Lighthouse, and it's relatively new. I think it was finished last year. It's got Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe in it, and it's literally just those two guys, and they go into a lighthouse. Yeah, and they spend like months in there together. And it's actually, I'm not going to spoil it for everyone because it's very new, but it's actually based on Greek mythology. So the two characters are basically modern interpretations of two of the biggest Greek mythological characters of history. And it's fascinating how they dive into that old story, like we were talking about Shakespeare, how all the best stories are the old ones. Well, there's some really good ones from Greek mythology, which have kind of been played over and over again in different ways. And so this is a really nice take on it. And they kind of go insane together. And that's basically as much as I'll explain it. It's a great...
That sounds fun. I'll pick it up.
Yeah, yeah. And my third favorite, let's say my third favorite, I don't know how to... Because there's quite a few. The Departed. I would say The Departed is my third favorite one. I really love that film. I love the way that they, and it's not entirely original because it was based on a Hong Kong movie called Infernal Affairs, where it was basically exactly the same story, but it was based in Hong Kong. Mafia person gets kind of qualifies for the police, and someone from the police goes undercover in a mafia family, and then they fucking meet each other and they become friends and whatever. Yeah, I just found the story was really, really nice. And the way they did it in Hollywood, it was like a lot easier to watch than the Hong Kong one, even though it wasn't bad, but it was still not there. And when they did this one, I was like, oh shit, okay, I'm going to watch that. So, there's Jack Nicholson in there, Mark Wahlberg in one of his better roles. I don't know why, probably because he doesn't get given too much screen time.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg's a good actor, but he's also really funny. I like his personality.
Yeah, I can watch Mark Wahlberg, but I don't want to.
Yeah, you like my movies. You like my movies?
Where it's like, where he's like the main character. I'd rather watch a movie where he's a supporting actor. I don't know why. I think it's too much for me.
Well, he was pretty good in Ted.
Ted was pretty funny. Yeah, Ted was pretty funny. I think those are the roles where he kind of shines, But I just really liked it. So it was a great movie. So those are my top three ones.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good Leo movies out there, and there's bound to be a lot more, and he's done a lot more. We did not really do a comprehensive cover of like his whole life because he's been so invested in like humanitarian stuff. He's done a lot for climate change. I think he's been like an ambassador to like the UN or something.
He is an ambassador to the UN. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's done some crazy shit. He's incredibly popular. So we didn't do him enough justice, but it was a lot of fun talking about him and his, his ability and his skill and his passion and stuff, and then mixing that in with some other random shit.
Yeah, it's like essentially kind of like a study on what potentially makes someone that likable and that successful. Like, what are the traits and what are the things that they've provided or produced to society that are, kind of notable.
He makes you fall in love with a character or relate to a character.
Exactly.
And he did that a lot when he was younger, which was the most surprising thing, because as an older actor sometimes, or actress, it takes you a long time, many years, to get that good at a role, play a character. Right. He was able to do that as a kid. And he was able to capture minds, capture hearts. That's why he's a legend.
I have this theory now that you've just mentioned that. I have this theory that, how you mentioned that it takes a while to become like a master at your craft, according to...
well, it takes time, not necessarily a while, but it depends on what it is.
Right. So there's a book called Outliers, which is the story of success by Malcolm Gladwell. And he basically boils it down to, on all of the studies he did, it's around about 10,000 hours to master something. And you're right. Like, some people just go into being an actor or an actress and they're just immediately great. And then they get better usually, but it's not like it's not like they're starting from nothing and then they're getting better and better over time. And my theory is like, well, I don't know if it's a theory or not, but like, it's not like a hard skill, is it? It's a soft skill, and you're kind of born with a lot of that as a talent, and then the rest of it is something you learn as you grow up. So I think the best actors and actresses are the ones that can bring those almost like innate talents and understandings of social interaction, and just kind of make it tangible for people to relate to. Like, the worst actors are the ones that can't translate that and are very kind of rigid and mechanical when it comes to their act. They're not organic. They're not bringing in their real life experience. So unlike other unlike other jobs, acting is something that everyone could be great at it, but
Yeah, I think it depends on three dynamics, honestly. I think one, it depends on your skill level, and like, is it something you're actually good at? Like, do you have a talent for it? And then two, your passion for it. Like, are you willing to work on it? Are you willing to learn? And then three, the time you put in while you're willing to learn. I think you put all three of those things together, especially the passion and the time.
Right.
Yeah, you can do just about anything. It doesn't have to be just acting. I think it's for any skill, anything you want to learn, anything you want to improve on, or anything you want to do in life.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. But what I'm trying to say is, in our real lives, when the cameras aren't rolling and we're just living, essentially you could take a snapshot of that, and that could be part of a movie because it's genuine. Like your fit of rage one day could have been part of a movie just filmed in the right way, and you would have been fine because it was real. But not many people
enter the Kardashians.
I don't think I've ever watched one of their shows.
I have. They're brilliant. It's the stupidest show ever. There's no point to it. They just film their lives, and it's entertainment for people. Right. They make money off it. Massive following. For that reason, it's brilliant. They orchestrate their lives in a certain way that they can, share it with the world. And they have to give up some like privacy and things like that, obviously, to, put themselves out there in the public that much. But with it comes incredible fame, incredible like dedication in terms of their following, their audience, and the money. And
I definitely have a lot of respect for them for being able to pull off, the successes they have.
What they've done is quite brilliant, honestly. I'm not going to speak to their individual levels of intelligence at all.
No.
Because I question it sometimes. But as a family, their family intelligence together, they seem to be incredibly great at business and in terms of the entertainment industry.
Yeah. I think one of the real kind of I think one of the real issues people have with it, which is why it's either a love or hate relationship that you have with that family, is what are they actually influencing? Mm-hmm. And when you think about it on a fundamental level, you could argue that what they're actually influencing is very superficial, and it doesn't lead to good social dynamics or whatever. So I think that's really where the issue comes in. But from a purely entrepreneurial, business development perspective, they're very good, and I have a lot of respect for them. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I can, get behind the whole message. I think the whole message is something beyond me.
I think the message is questionable sometimes. Like, I think the things they do, I don't necessarily agree with. Or if I had a daughter, I don't know if I'd want her to watch them all the time or emulate them. Yeah. But, at the same time, they do kind of reel it back to earth a little bit, and they're not like totally out there like they used to be. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like they're appealing to every young girl out there that wants to be hot, every young girl that wants to be a badass. Like, they're appealing to all those young, gorgeous women out there, and they idolize these girls. I don't know a single girl that doesn't idolize Kylie Jenner, for example.
Yeah, you got to.
Kylie Jenner hasn't done shit with her life yet. Honestly, she is a part of a very wealthy, successful family that's been doing this reality TV series for a long time, and she just has this $1 billion makeup line now.
How old is she now? Like 23, 24?
Something like that. Or maybe even younger. I don't know. She has a $1 billion makeup line that just magically poof came out of nowhere because she's so famous.
She's 22, bro. That's very young.
Yeah. And how wealthy out of just her fame, just being a part of the show. That shows you how much influence they have. She doesn't have those business skills. She didn't build a $1 billion makeup business. She just launched it, and it was $1 billion because her following is so fucking huge. It's crazy. Kim Kardashian's had that kind of fame for a long time. So has the rest of the family. Kylie Jenner, Kendall Jenner, they've expanded their little TV series empire quite a bit.
I think that's really the core driver behind, is that philosophy behind any kind of online business now, is that you really have to have that engaged following, that loyal group of people that will buy your stuff once you present it to them. And that's another episode too, is talking about personal branding, because long gone are the days, I think, where you literally just present an offer, unless you're solving a real problem. You can do that. Yeah. If you're a personal brand and you're selling education or you're selling your knowledge, I think it really does change the game when you have that engaged following. So that's this.
Yeah, but their personal brand is built around their personality, though. Like, I'm trying to build a personal brand. I know you're trying to build a personal brand. It's very difficult. But if I was a girl and I was super hot, my following would be huge.
Well, yeah, you can't deny the fact that they are incredibly, photogenic and just really good in front of the camera. And
you can say attractive, Clement. Okay, you can say attractive.
Well, yeah, okay. But I'm just talking about from most people.
But there's go onto Instagram, for example. There are so many. Some of the biggest accounts, they're all females, and they're hot females. That's what's appealing to people.
Yeah, but
it's appealing to young women. It's appealing to men. You don't see a lot of men with profiles like that are super popular unless they're like a model through an agency or something.
Okay,
like any hot girl
perspective, though, because if you take those women and you put them on a podcast platform, they're not going to do so well, perhaps because
because you can't see them.
Exactly.
I mean, it depends on the platform.
It depends.
Like
you can build.
If I hop on a podcast, and for me, it's all about the audio, and I'm spewing out information and knowledge and things I've learned and things I want to share, it's going to do really well. But if I go around and start, dancing around on Instagram and taking my shirt off, it's not going to have the same effect as it will a hot girl or a very attractive, beautiful girl. Even if they're smart, if to their benefit, there's a lot of girls like that. They're also super smart and they don't do podcasts and they don't put out more intelligible information. They should.
Exactly. But and so this is the point I'm trying to make. It's like it really depends on the platform, and Instagram and the more visual platforms like TikTok are obviously going to stimulate people more if the subject is very easy to look at.
Yeah.
But when it comes to podcasting or even YouTube to a certain degree, it's about whatever else they have to bring to that long form content. And so, if you're not good looking, or if you don't feel like you're good in front of the camera, there are other ways to build your personal brand. But we can cover all of this in another episode. I would love to with you. I think we would do a really good episode for people, help them kind of get their bearings on how they could go about, starting something medium to long term.
Yes, I think there's some things that men are doing wrong and when it comes to social media, but I think there's also things that women are doing wrong because women are getting massive followings through these platforms, and it's awesome because, for them, it should be something that's empowering and they should be proud of. But I also feel like they're not taking advantage of it. Right. Like you have the ability with a huge following now to show how smart you are and all these things you can do and all these thoughts you have. And
you can't
engage your following, but all you're doing is putting out booty pics, which are fine. But that's not going to make you money.
I think, go ahead.
No, that's my thoughts.
Just a hard stop. Boom. There seems to be perhaps less of an experience in actually having a plan in place for this. And give fair dues. A lot of the accounts that are created, they're just for fun to begin with, and then they kind of spiral into something that perhaps could be monetized. So. Yes, again, this is something we could definitely help people figure out, how to build a longer term strategy that would somehow monetize in the future. Not immediately, because that would not be a good idea, in my opinion. But, maybe in the medium to long term, you could start to play around with ways of getting a revenue stream created around that personal brand, especially if you're, having trouble right now. In this time where commerce just isn't really happening like it used to, and you might have lost your job, and you don't want to be in a situation ever again. I think that having something online where you can monetize it is one of the key ways to avoid that in the future. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. Are we doing another shot?
Yeah. Let's.
Oh, hold on. I gotta pour this.
It's okay. You know what now that we're doing shots every week, I want to get one of those shot measures that you put on the top of a bottle, or even just the
I could do that. I saw a really cool invention for that, but for smoking, for bongs. There's a bong tracker that people are working on. So you can track how many hits you take when you pull out of a bong. Oh, it's quite brilliant though. It'd be cool to actually measure that. You could measure alcohol.
So basically it's like a filter, and you breathe it in through the filter and it will kind of read out.
Yeah. So I don't know how it would work exactly, but you pull the smoke, maybe it's just based on airflow. Maybe there's a flap or something.
Right.
That works with airflow, and then it counts off when you pull. And then maybe you could come up with a measurement for smoking, so people would know exactly how much of a bong hit they would have to take to get high, just like they would with drinking. I know roughly where my limits are with drinking, but do people really know that with smoking? That'd be a cool invention.
Bro, the funny thing is you're talking about something that, and I'm not going to mention names because I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about this, but I'll just say it without names. But I was talking with someone that I met in a WeWork about a year ago, and he is in the vaping business. So he sells like vaping kits to vaping stores or, whatever. And he said he was working on a technology that you'd be able to configure the vaping pen or whatever it is that you're smoking through to limit you to a certain amount of nicotine because they don't do that right now. And so it's very easy to get addicted to it. It's supposed to be the opposite. It's supposed to be a way to get you off smoking. But apparently right now, according to statistics, vaping is a way to get you into smoking.
Well, you got to be careful. There's a lot of cigarette companies that are trying to play the other side of the card right now because they're losing money badly.
Yeah.
The tobacco business is dying.
Yeah.
Because there's alternative forms. And, what addicts you to the tobacco is the nicotine. So when you have a different type of nicotine addiction, it pulls you away from traditional tobacco products. So a lot of these cigarette companies, they're pumping out millions of dollars into ads that are trying to link vaping as an entry point to cigarettes, which isn't true, or trying to show that nicotine is bad for you because it's addictive. That's not true. Nicotine's not bad for you. Nicotine's addictive, but it's not bad for you. It's what you're addicted to.
You sure about that?
Yeah. Nicotine's a nootropic drug. It's not bad for you. It's highly addictive. And if you took a whole bunch of it, it'd be poisonous. But I mean, if you had it in small doses, it's not bad for you. It's a nootropic. It's actually improves cognitive function.
Okay. I actually, for some reason, because I don't think I've ever researched this, thought that nicotine was bad for you.
It's not.
Okay, fair enough.
There's nothing wrong with nicotine.
Brandon.
You will never see a commercial that says nicotine is going to hurt you because they can't prove it. It doesn't hurt you. All nicotine does is make you addicted to whatever the nicotine's attached to.
Right.
So if it's nicotine and vegetable glycerin, you'll be addicted to the nicotine and vegetable glycerin. That's far better than being addicted to nicotine and tobacco. Tobacco long term is terrible for you if you abuse it. Vegetable glycerin long term, there's no study to show that it's bad for you.
Right. And that would make a lot of sense if obviously.
And then they come out with all these studies saying that, there's chemicals in it. There's chemicals in everything. There's fucking chemicals in everything. Like, can you be more specific?
That's a good
some of these studies are absolute bullshit, but people buy into it because they don't understand it.
Yep. And there's a lot of misinformation, isn't there, from different industries? Like, for example,
misinformation.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it, that you would resort to that kind of shit just to keep your business floating?
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with oil. What do you think is happening with the clean energy industry? Yeah. They're constantly at war with the big oil cartels because, if they become bigger and more popular, the oil cartels will die and lose business. And they're starting to slowly. So they push back against it. Yeah. It's not affordable. It costs too much money. It's not practical. But we have this method of using like clean coal and safer methods for putting it into your car or your boats. Or we have different chemical versions of our oil, gasoline combinations. They come up with all kinds of bullshit.
Jesus,
they do it because they're losing money. I'm taking my shot now.
We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We can tell. I think our audience can tell if they got this far that we literally we're overflowing with thoughts about everything. So it'll be interesting to see how the next 5 episodes, 10 episodes.
Yeah, I just want to reach through the camera / microphone right now and shake you and tell you everything about my crazy ideas and theories. Like, I have so many things running through my head, and I'm sorry, Leo. I'm so sorry. If Leo, if you're watching or listening to this podcast, this was supposed to be about you, but I think 90% of the time it's been about #shower thoughts and conspiracies in the vaping industry.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised though if no, I probably would be surprised if Leonardo DiCaprio subscribed, but I wouldn't be surprised if I got to speak to him through a message online, because you can fucking do that with most celebrities now these days. I mean,
there's actually this service. There's a service where celebrities will list how much it costs for them to record like a short video for you, you can send them. You can send them a script.
Chris D'Elia was talking about that recently. And
you can send them Kevin O'Leary does it. Like, you can send them a script, and if they want to do it, they'll accept it, record a video of whatever you want them to say, and they'll send it back, and they get paid. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think Chris D'Elia, he's a comedian, right? So he was taking a piss, and he said that I signed up for the service, and I made my price purposefully like so expensive. So he's more expensive than the most expensive celebrity on there, which is ridiculous because, he's just an up and coming, comedian. And he just he keeps mentioning that go to there, pay $20,000 and I'll leave you a message. That's all you got to do. Just go to the platform, pay $20,000 and I'm going to leave you a personalized message. And he knows that no one's going to do it. But you know what? Probably someone would fucking do it. They'd be stupid enough to do that.
Yeah. I wonder if Leo is on one of those platforms. Maybe we can get Leo to be like, I love Podshots. I love episode 5.
You could definitely do it.
It's my favorite.
He did an entire, there was a hotel chain in Philippines where I used to live called the City of Dreams. And it's probably Chinese, to be fair, but huge casino and hotel and resort in the slap bang in the middle of Metro Manila. And they actually paid to get Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, and Brad Pitt to do a short movie that basically featured their entire resort in that short movie. And they were basically in the casino doing their little thing. And it's entertaining to watch.
But you can do anything with money.
Yeah, they paid $70 million for it. I mean,
that's
casino money.
I hope that was worth it for them.
I know, right? But then casinos make, I don't know how much, but I'm sure they make a lot more than that.
Well, that's incredible for an actor. Like, it's like, hey, do a short movie. It's not stressful. It won't take a lot of time. I'll give you $10 million. You kidding me?
No, yeah, of course you would do it. You would. I mean, it depends because they probably get offers like this a lot, and so you get to choose. But once you
get into the commercial business, I mean, it's a lot easier than Hollywood.
This is a place where people go to basically lose all their money. So I'm not really sure, but yeah, there was a lot of money. I'm sure that played a large part in it, and it all turned up.
Yeah,
watch it on YouTube.
All right.
Last shot of the episode.
I did my shot. I'm waiting on you.
You did. You didn't say anything. We can't see each other. In the video,
no.
Like we're watching each other.
We can't see each other at all because we're prioritizing the audio at the moment.
Yeah.
So I can't see when he takes his shot. It's hard to time it up, but Clement, better hurry up.
Maybe you can tell by the time I've taken it how I